Flower Garden, Episode 1. Introducing your host, Daniel Vargas. Special presentation with Emily Rosania and Felipe Flores. Hello and welcome to the first episode of The Flower Garden. I'm your host, Daniel Vargas. First of all, I would like to thank our sponsors, Soundmaker Studios, for letting us use this space. Okay, so let's get right to it. I want to introduce my two guests, Mr. Felipe Flores.
Hi, guys.
Miss Emily Rosania.
Hey guys, so excited for being here. Thanks for having me, Danielle.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Love the emotion, as always. Well, tell me a little about yourself. Let's start with you, Emily. It says here that you have a bachelor degree in business administration and that you graduated in microbiology from Harvard University.
Yeah, just graduated 1 year ago. It's been amazing. I'm taking a gap year right now.
Oh, that's awesome. What do you plan on doing? Are you traveling the world, perhaps?
Yes, I just arrived from Africa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Doing community service?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's so cool.
I'm teaching in schools, and it's just amazing.
Well, that's awesome.
What about
So,
you?
That's great, that's
Felipe,
great.
what about you? Here it says that you have also an MBA in business administration and that you studied pure chemistry. Wow. That's intense.
Yeah,
Tell me a little about that.
That's correct. I mean, I've loved chemistry since I was a little kid, but I wanted to mix it with something that could get me a leading job instead of just being in the background. So, yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
That sounds amazing.
Okay, so as you both know, I'm doing this talk show, and I really want to discuss the problem that we are facing today, which is the future, as you know. So what I mean by this is, in the world that we live in today, we are drawing closer and closer to ending our world, as we burn fossil fuels and we're killing it.
That's true.
So, Felipe, you told me before that you had an interesting story that was going to benefit our argument today. As to let the audience know, we're going to talk about the recent book released by Cormac McCarthy, The Road.
Oh my God.
That's a good book, right?
I
It
just
is a good
finished
book.
it, reading it last night for the third time. It's just the best.
I love that book.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
Felipe,
That's
tell
great.
your anecdote.
I mean, I already knew, of course, we were going to do this podcast about the book. And something interesting happened to me this weekend that was, super beneficial. It just goes really well with, one of the main themes of the book. So I was in a metal concert. And it was a really nice experience. I love metal music. I've always done. But I'm not a violent person. I don't like hitting people. I don't like getting into fights. I don't like any of that. But the metal concert started getting a little bit out of hand, and a mosh pit was formed. In a good way. But me being small of stature and not really strong, I just wanted to get out of there. But I didn't want to hit people. But people started hitting me, and I was like, if I want to get out of here, I'm going to have to push people and hit them so I can get to safety.
So you feel like your moral code was being compromised in order for you to have survival. That's what
Exactly.
you're saying.
I was torn between the fact of me not wanting to compromise my morals and hit people, and me literally trying to survive. So I mean, this connects really well to the book, I think, because it's that feeling of being torn between your morals and survival.
Well, now that you mention it, that's quite interesting. So to let the audience know, one of our main topics today is going to be the difference between survival and compromising your moral code.
Yes.
So as you told in our story, I believe that you leaned on the survival aspect. Am I right?
Yes. I ended up having to hit people and push
Oh my
them
God.
so I could get to safety. I mean, I don't feel good about it, but I don't regret my decision. I'm still here.
Emily, what do you think about this topic? Tell me
I don't know.
what you're thinking.
I totally disagree with you.
Oh.
I think you have to have your moral code really firm with what you do, I totally connect myself with the little boy in the road, because he has a moral code all through the book, and he never wants to make someone go through something. He never wants to be violent, although his father, he does do the things that are, well, not going with the moral code. So I think I'm totally the opposite of you. Like, I don't know.
So you agree more with the boy, is what you're saying?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, but what you said about the book is completely right. The boy has a fixed moral code throughout the whole story, only that he's expressing it more towards the end. But let me ask you this. If the boy was alone and keeping his morals, do you think he would have survived?
What a difficult question, Pipe. Because, like, I don't know. For me, it's just, like, super hard to get to that question. Because I understand that the father is doing what he has to do to keep his boy safe. So it's just, like, really hard because it's in the position of the dad. Well, any of us would do that.
Well, that's interesting. Now that you talk about that, as you know, the environment in the road is a post-apocalyptic one. It's all dusty. It's kind of the end of human nature. So I want to ask you both this. Do you think it is possible for us as a society to become like the one in the road? And is the book a message for us to take care of our planet? What do you think Cormac McCarthy was saying? Felipe, I'm going to start with you. What do you think?
Well, I think answering the first part of your question, is that a world like the one depicted in The Road is completely possible. And even at this point, with all the tensions in the world, kind of scary even lately. Like, I think personally the world, they'd never say it explicitly, but I think what is present in the world of The Road is a nuclear winter, which happens after a nuclear war.
I agree with that. And with all the tensions that we have with the United States, the new presidency of Donald Trump.
Exactly.
It is fair to say that this nuclear war isn't all that far away, which is actually quite scary in my opinion.
Exactly, yes.
So with all the
Completely.
nuclear tensions, well, the road isn't that far away, which actually really frightens me. Emily, what do you think?
My God, this gets me so hard because, like, I feel like nowadays it's just so hard to trust people. Like, it has not become, like, I don't know, it's just so hard. So I think, like, in The Road, like, the boy and the father, all through the book, they're, like, looking for the good guys, but they never trust anyone. So they think everybody is bad. So what if, like, we get to that time where we are, like, in a really bad situation worldwide and we think everybody is bad? Like, that's worse because everybody's gonna be, I want to survive and I'm totally gonna go in contrast to my moral code. So that's really bad.
Well, now that we brought that, I think it is the perfect time for us to get a little insight from our audience. So we're going to open the floor. Let's see. We just got a tweet from George from Melbourne, Australia. And he says, this is a question for both of you, according to this young fellow. He says, what if it was your own child that you have to be with in order to survive? What would you do if it was your own child in that situation? That's quite a hard question, in my opinion, because the love between a father and child or a mother and a child is, I think, the greatest bond that there is in the world.
I agree.
So, Felipe, what do you think about that? What would you do?
Well, I mean, I would put survival over everything. I'd do anything to keep my boy or my girl safe.
What about you, Emily?
Me being a mom of 3, I totally think that when you're in the position of being a mother, survival comes first because you want to take care of your child. You want them to be safe. But it's also really difficult because you always want to have your moral code and you want to have, like, a good example for your child.
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is sometimes when you think of this, you would think that this other boy that you're not helping because is kind of, you're putting them as, like, you're thinking of them as your own child, which in a way is kind of controversial to our question because we want our own child to survive, but if we see another child, it is still someone else's child, which is what the majority of the audience tweeting right here is saying in response to George's question. Well, that's quite interesting.
It's a tough question.
That's true. That's true.
I-
And now we have to obviously take this time to thank our great sponsors at Wendy's for giving us that delicious food.
For a limited time, Wendy's Double Stack is just $1. A quarter pound of Wendy's fresh, never frozen beef and melty cheese, all for just $1. You may never see a deal this good again. So get a double stack for $1 from Wendy's today.
Oof.
For a limited time.
That made me hungry, guys.
Oh,
my
I really
God.
want. Hey, let's go to Wendy's after this.
Yeah, Wendy's is so good, guys.
Hashtag amazing.
Well, that's really good. Oh. Okay, but come on, guys. We gotta keep focused because this is a trending topic, and our audience is actually still tweeting and still wants to know a lot. So, I want to ask you this, Emily. Is there maybe perhaps a movie or another real life scenario that you can connect to the road particularly?
Completely. Yes. There's a total movie, which is for my opinion, it's totally similar to The Road, and it's The Pursuit of Happiness. Have you seen it?
Oh my
Oh,
God!
I've
Is
seen
that
that
the one
movie.
starring Will Smith?
Yeah.
Oh,
I know. He's just amazing.
he acts so well in that
I
movie,
know.
but it's
It's
so
just
sad at
beautiful.
the same time.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's a
a
beautiful
tough,
movie.
It's a tough movie.
It is a tough
And
movie.
I totally connected with The Road. And when we talked about how the father always wants, well, not the father, obviously, the parents always wants to have, like, the best for their child. Pursuit of Happiness, it's really similar. Because, like, all through the movie, the father, it's trying to make the situation they're leaving not seem so bad, so the child wouldn't have such a rough time. And I think that's what the father is doing all along, also in The Road. The father is trying to.
So in a way, what you're saying is he's trying to help his child develop his own moral code, right? A little. So with that being
Well,
said,
yeah.
I want to ask you both guys a question. Do children develop their own moral code, or do they adapt it from their parents?
Can I clarify? Is it all children or the child in the road?
Let's keep it with the child on the road.
In the road?
Yeah, in the
Oh,
road.
okay.
Okay, because me personally, I think the child in the road has always been depicted as a sort of godlike deity. Like at the beginning of the book, kind of at the beginning of the book, there was a quote about how if the child never spoke, then God never spoke. And throughout the book, there's that motif of the child being similar to God, and him having very concrete moral codes from the start to the end. I think he particularly did not get his moral codes from his father, and he didn't learn them. He was born with them, like sort of like, I don't know. It reminds me of Jesus, in a way. So yeah, I think not for the case of the boy, but normally yes.
So you think he's kind of a symbol of Jesus?
Yes.
I want to talk about that because I think symbolism in the book is something that's very present and that many of the audience sometimes we don't pay that much attention, but in other times it's what the author wants to tell us the most. So in this other part, I wanted to address the audience. The author talks about the snakes. As you know, snakes are a symbol of death.
Yes.
Because of Adam and Eve. So, Felipe, what do you think about this, the symbolism in the book and their relevance to us understanding the book better?
Symbolism in the book has been, as you said, really important. And regarding the snakes, I really liked how they depict that. Of course, it was a reference to the Garden of Eden, and how the fall of man was due to Satan being depicted in the way of a snake, and how the man, when he was getting close to the rocks, took him away, and there was a nest of vipers. But the vipers, if you think about it, weren't really doing anything.
That's true.
They were just animals, and they were just living there. But then they burned them all, and then they became like this agonizing figure of just twisting and burning, and like they couldn't scream and they couldn't say anything, but they were just like burning there. And it was like, the diction used in that passage is super strong. So that makes me evoke a feeling that the things that are wrong in the world are more of like what we think is wrong, but we can't look towards ourselves. You see what I'm getting at? Like the snakes, in our view, were wrong, but the snakes in the view of, in their own view, we're the bad guys because they just burned them for no reason. They were just living. So like we should like look internally and stop blaming other things for our own wrongs.
I think that's a very interesting viewpoint. Emily, what other symbols do you think are present in the book that make you kind of
Yeah.
think?
Wait a second. I wanna search if I have my book on my purse. Yeah, I totally found
Always
it.
bring the road with you,
yeah.
right? Am I right?
Yeah, cause like I
Yeah,
wanted
the road for the road.
The road for the road.
I want to quote something that really catch my attention, and I also, for my opinion, I see it as a symbol, and it's the fire all along the book. At the end, in page 278, it says the father tells his boy, "You have to carry the fire," and that quote made me feel like the fire. It's like the moral of the boy, como que you have to keep going on with that moral you have. You have to keep showing the world.
So it's
that
kind
you're
of the
a good
passing
guy.
of the torch, kind of.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you get it.
Completely agree. The fire is really important.
Well,
Um,
guys, I think this was a very interesting topic, and definitely we're gonna talk about this in
Future episodes.
the future
Yeah.
episodes, possibly
So excited for
episode
being
2.
here.
Yeah, the
Oh,
book is.
you
the
two
future.
guys were such a great guests. Really prepared.
Thanks for having us.
It was awesome to
Yeah.
have you guys. So remember, subscribe in our YouTube channel. And keep on using hashtag the flower gardening on Twitter.
Always.
And keep on tweeting, guys, because we love to respond to what the audience thinks, because we think that the audience is one of the most valuable members of our channel.
Yes.
So with this said, Emily, Felipe, thank you for
Thank you
let me
so much.
being your interviewer.
Thank
and
you.
well,
Let's head to Wendy's.
let's head to
Yeah,
Wendy's.
let's go to Wendy's, guys.
And this is the Flower Garden signing off. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Te mando flores que recojo en el camino. Yo te las